Well, lucky for me, pressing the button. It's the Thursday show. Yay!
Yay!
Hi, Mrs. Ryan.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everybody. Here we go. They get some lights on there. Very nice. Bring it in here, Mrs. Ryan. What's happened? Oh, I got a new shirt. Look at me. I got a new shirt.
Ooh, it's
73 RS
great.
from the new Hunziker line.
Awesome.
Go buy shophunziker.com, everybody. A little commercial before we start.
And look at my shoes. They're there.
Oh, there they are too. The 111 shoes, Hunziker. Hi, Mrs. Ryan. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, August 8th, 2019. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are the Ryans, and this is It's Night Show in the old late night playset. We haven't seen y'all in a couple days, and I guess it's been a week, actually, because it was our Thursday show last week. Mrs. Ryan and I have been taking some meetings. We've been having some meetings. We've been trying to figure out some things, and we've been discussing our future, the future of the show, I should say. I always do that. It only sounds weird to you, but man, when you do that face, I know exactly what you're doing. Anyway, so lots of stuff going on. Some of that stuff we'll cover today, and some stuff you're going to be discovering in the future or finding out about in the future. How are you doing today, first off? Welcome back.
Welcome back to you also.
Lovely. Really lovely.
What?
I say you look lovely,
thank
and then I
you.
said really lovely.
Thank you. My legs are super jello-y, but everything else is, I can, if I slow down really slow, I can hold most of it together.
Good. You're doing a good job with I think the strength, maybe. I don't know, whatever you feel is weakness, somehow you're looking more strong. It's a conundrum.
Thank you. I'm rebuilding.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Good. You look like you're working on your core. You look like your core is, I should say, you look like you have been working on your core, as in you stand differently. Better.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome to hear. Thanks.
That's why I said it. All right. So some things to talk about. Let's see. Where have we been? The weekend. Let's talk about the weekend first, Mrs. Ryan. What did we do last weekend? It's almost time for this weekend, for goodness sake.
That's crazy. I'm going to stick with Breakfast Club because that's the last I remember. I know there's so much more.
No, that was good. Breakfast Club was great.
Breakfast Club is so much fun.
A lot of people there. Actually, we're going to talk about Breakfast Club because we met today's guest at Breakfast Club.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that when he gets in here. But we had a great time, and a bunch of people came. After that, let's see, what else happened last weekend? Saturday. Boy, there was something big. Oh, the PC. Oh, my gosh. So Thursday, who was here was G.I. Jen. That was one of the funniest episodes we've ever had because of we're calling it an outtake, except this show never stops tape, so there's no such thing as an outtake. You always see it. But it certainly will make its way to a gag reel if there ever is one. At some point, Jennifer Nicole thought we weren't taping, so she thought we were having a little sidebar conversation.
And we were taping.
And it was so funny. Yeah, it was great. So if you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch the G.I. Jen episode from last week.
Jen,
so
I
funny.
adore you.
Plus, she's the general manager of the Porsche Experience Center here in Los Angeles. So for all our car people, she's a good person to get to know a little bit more about anyway.
Yeah.
And then you get to go down to the PEC and say hello to her in person and see how that beautiful Smyrna green car. Anyway, so Saturday was the PEC morning shift, which is her event. It's their cars and coffee.
Right.
Don't have to have a Porsche. Anything is welcome. And we went and we had, a great time. We sort of pulled a little we got off the highway a little bit different than apparently everybody else. So the traffic, it made us do a U-turn right in front of the place. And then that made us get right in front of the people who then waved us to the front of the line. Anybody who was behind, we want to apologize. We felt very awful and awkward at the moment because we were like, well, should we wait in this line? Should we do? We weren't sure what to do. And then we got pulled in. So anyway, we cut the line a little bit. And then once we got inside, Jeff Zwart came over and was like, I think this cone's for you.
I love that guy.
We felt amazing. We felt very special.
Got to see his dog, Jezebel.
Of course, always. Thank you so
Jez.
much to Jeff Zwart and to G.I. Jen and to everybody at the PEC for putting on a fantastic event. Sunday, I don't remember what we did, but I would like to bring us back to this week and what we've got going on, Mrs. Ryan. Right. What have we been up to? I mentioned the meetings before and some things I'd like to talk about. Pete Stout. Pete Stout was supposed to be a guest today, and he's not going to be a guest today. We have someone else who I didn't tease at the top of the show because apparently I'm a little bit out of practice. We have got Jonathan Buckley here, better known as Bucko. We met him at Breakfast Club. He's a host of other shows as well and knows a lot about cars and rode a motorcycle up to Newcombs and stuff. Very cool guy. But back to Pete Stout, was supposed to be a guest today on this program. Pete Stout's schedule changed. He's not going to be here this week. But, one of those things, how things work out better in the long run. Yeah. Because of this little scheduling change, we are going to be able to have Pete here next month in September for the 9/14/000 anniversary big celebration color event. It's a big deal. Ray Schaefer is going to be in town for it. And get to the good part. Now we're going to have Pete Stout and Ray Schaefer from Porsche here together during that time to promote that event that week. And so it's going to be a much bigger, better show for us, certainly for them as well. And I think we're going to have even more fun. But so that's what's going on with that. We didn't drop the ball and we didn't forget. Wasn't clickbait or any of that shit. I brought Ray Schaefer up, so of course it's time to mention, if not already, please consider following Ray Schaefer for your backstage pass to Porsche Classic, brand heritage, and travel-related material. That's Ray.Schaefer, SHAFFER. Love you, Ray Schaefer. So much so. All right, that's almost it. And then what else? We spent a lot of time in the studio. Chad and I spent a lot of time in the studio this week. We had some dark days. That's a term in the television industry. When you're not shooting, like the lights are out, it's dark. Some dark days where we worked on things. We tweaked some lighting. We redid. Nothing is new, but we redid a lot of stuff here. And I think just the studio needed a little bit of love. It had been a while.
It feels great.
It feels great, and the product looks better. And yeah, level up. You put in effort, you get something back. That's how it works. So I just wanted to say something because I wanted to say thank you to Chad, our PA, our laborer, and I wanted to say that I was pretty excited about it and pretty proud of myself. So enough chatter with me, Mrs. Ryan. Time to get to the East Coast feeds if you have nothing else.
No, I'm just proud of you too.
I'll take it.
Studio feels awesome.
I'll take it. I appreciate it. It is time now to check in with Danbury Chive in the East Coast feed. Let's see where he is today. I happen to know, but you might be excited. We've got a bunch of these. Roll it, Hal.
Reporting to you live, Steve Kaz, the East Coast feed, coming to you from someplace special. Oh, I just gave it away behind me. Maybe it's over here. But today's the day. We're going, bam. There it is. Are you getting that? This is batting practice at Citi Field, home of the Mets. And this is what we do. Boom, let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen. Bam. We're on the field today with Uncle Mike. Rick's dad, Brian, up front, and we'll give you an update from the field. Love you guys.
Boy.
Baseball season is upon us.
Oh, God, I don't know anything about that.
I forgot.
It's Wabbit season as far as I'm concerned. All right, well, that's it. Citi Field. So that's the big reveal. Let's see how it is out there on the field of Citi Field. Roll it out.
So East Coast Feed Part 2, reporting to you live from Citi Field, TCAS, Met Stadium. Just took my batting practice. Crushed a couple of balls. Didn't suck. Thank God. A lot of people here to be embarrassed in front of, like my father-in-law. Then there's that. But he's about to go up next. We'll try to get some live video of him and Uncle Mike in the background filming everybody because we make friends. That's how we do. Hope life is good in L.A. Queens is a beautiful day. Love you.
Oh my God.
That guy's in his element. Let's see the next one. Roll it, Hal.
You know you're big when your name is on the screen behind you. And there it is. Steve Kaz up on the City Vision. As you can see right here. We're just taking some batting practice. We outfield. We flying. Whatever. It's update number whatever. I don't know how many updates this is, but we Citi Field. You can't get enough footage of this, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. Live it while you got it. I'm about to catch this ball. Hold on a second. I got this right here. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Bam! There it is.
Come on! Bring it back to the studio here, but that was impressive. All right. Catching a ball on the field, on the feed. All right, one more. Roll it, Hal.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, Steve Kaz, East Coast Feed, reporting live from Citi Field. Yet again, part 3, part 4, I don't know what number it is. Uncle Mike, Brian, Brian's father-in-law, there he is. Got us in here today to do some batting practice. Let's say hi to Jay Nicole.
Yeah, Jay, Nicole, love you, babies.
There it is.
Miss you, babies.
Now, he's been on the East Coast Feed before. Brian's first time. He's a little shy, but he's got a beer, so he's in a good day. We just finished batting practice, took shag some flies. It's a good time.
Exactly. That's what existence is all about.
This is it. Make the best of every day, because what happens tomorrow, you never know.
Never
You never know. So live today. Live it while you got it, Mr. Ryan, Mrs. Ryan. Here we go. Citi Field. Boom! Look at that. Fantastic.
I just love how happy he gets. I mean, that's this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Mets growing up in Queens, that's his thing.
That's it. He wears it proudly.
I love it. I love you, Kaz, man.
Love
Good
it.
for you. And love you, Uncle Mike, and love you, Rick. Was it Rick?
I think
Rich?
so.
Rick?
Rick.
It's Brooke's father.
Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Kaz's soon-to-be father-in-law.
It will be really nice to get to know you, sir.
She means it. We're laughing just because the whole thing's funny, but obviously she means it.
Oh, totally.
All right, Mrs. Ryan, I think that's all I have. It's time. Oh, no, it's not. There's one more thing that's pretty important. Oh, my gosh. I almost skipped it. The one thing from the hellos that I didn't mention. You know what it is, Mrs. Ryan.
I do.
Here we go. Dave Watch. Bring this in. Yep. All right, so when we left you last week, I believe we were in the middle of talking about trying to get David Letterman as a guest on this program. Makes sense for a lot of reasons. But we've only recently begun to actually, really go after him, actually pursue this properly through the proper, entertainment channels and everything versus just wishful thinking. So here we go. This brings us to the 8th of whatever month this is.
August.
And I'm going to, instead of an X, I'm going to do a square around it. What does that square denote, Mrs. Ryan? Why is there a square instead of the... Well, we should do an X as well, I guess, because, of course, Dave is not here today, so he gets the X. But what does the square mean, Mrs. Ryan?
Outreach made.
Mm-hmm. Or at least
Done.
we've got something else happening. We're very, very excited to say, I don't want to say any names because this person works on many other big shows, but we have somebody who is one of, if not the absolute best talent producer, booker in the business, who has successfully booked David Letterman on other programs. Working with us to help pursue this and help try to get Dave here. So I would say what was like, it's going to happen at some point, just got moved up the list quite a bit.
Yeah. It's
So
exciting.
I don't know. Still absolutely no news. Still could get a absolutely no.
And we
Well,
were
anything could happen.
he
We
and
don't
I
know what's
were
gonna
super
happen.
clear about it. Like that's part of it too, and we both know that. But it's
But then we know.
progress.
Right. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
exciting.
Otherwise, it feels like right now it's like the elephant in the room. And we just have to. It has to be addressed.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've addressed it here, but not with the actual man. And now that we're pursuing other things and doing things other places and things like that. Oh gosh, we should talk about that too. The Porsche Experience Center. There's going to be hearing a lot more about that, but we are officially going to be doing this show for a week of shows, the whole set and everything, down at the Porsche Experience Center here in Los Angeles. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful opportunity, and it's happening during their anniversary week in November. So it's a huge thing, all eyes. There will be a lot of people there and a lot of people involved. And this will definitely be a level up moment for this particular program and Mrs. Ryan and myself. So that's it. I have talked way too much. I'm so sorry. I can't wait to get a guest in here. But in the meantime, Mrs. Ryan, it's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind.
Dun, dun, dun. That's after.
Oh, shit. Well, I'm too pushing buttons.
Whatever,
Don't
man.
tell me how to do this.
There's an underwater memorial in Clearwater, Florida.
What?
Right. It's the first one underwater. It's got like 12 statues. They're going to put 10 more into it in the next year or so. Which sounds crazy until you realize that this is a 10-year endeavor from a professor at the university in Clearwater.
Okay.
For veterans to have a place to go that's like to help treat PTSD and
I
depression
see.
and give them somewhere to commemorate. It's a veteran memorial. I probably left that part out. Sorry.
No, you got it.
It just sounds super neat that he's created this place for people to go, and it can turn into
For quiet reflection, that kind of thing?
for divers that have. Yeah, that's the parkland
understand.
around it, but it's underwater, so
Right,
it's
right.
for divers and that are experienced. It's 40 feet below and 10 feet off the coast.
Cool. That's wild.
Enjoy it. It's going to be super.
10 feet off the coast and 40 foot down? Are those maybe
Other-
opposite? 40 feet out and
Yeah.
10 foot down. That
No.
makes sense.
No.
40
Not
feet
what I
down
read.
and 10 foot out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you said.
That's
yeah.
what I
You
read.
You said it properly.
That's what I read. It sounds super cool.
Okay.
And I thought it sounded nutso, but like what? For a minute, and I almost didn't do the story because I was like, this is crazy. But there's more to it. And this is a 10-year passion project for this professor, and it's all good things.
Okay.
So
Fair
go
enough.
check it out.
Clearwater, Florida, is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right.
Danny Trejo
Oh man, I love this one.
out here in Silmar.
Right around the corner.
It's close, yeah?
It's just right out there, right at the base of the hill over there. It's right out by Singer.
Oh, well.
There's Sunland, but it's all in the same direction out there.
It's over near us, and it was an overturned vehicle. He saved a kid out of an infant seat. A grandma was driving and got flipped over, and the kid
Two
got
vehicles
stuck.
were in an accident, and yes, the grandmother was stuck in the car, and the kid was stuck in the car seat. So Danny Trejo crawled into the back to try to get the kid out of the car seat. Now, what I read was Danny Trejo could reach the kid, but he couldn't reach the clasp. So somebody else reached him from the other side and undid the clasp, and Danny then got the kid and took the kid out the side, and then the grandmother, the only person the kid knew, was stuck in the car. So Danny then took it upon himself to keep the kid distracted on the side of the road, saying muscles and superpowers and all that stuff. Did you see him talking about it on the news? He was so excited.
I heard some of that, and we have superpowers, and like that's what activated this kid, and like really connected the kid to like be like, okay, I'll dig down deep and like use my own superpowers.
Right, because the kids know the Avengers and all that stuff. So he's talking about muscles and just whatever the kid can recognize. It was great.
It was
great.
One of the coolest
He's a good
stories I
communicator.
read.
It really showed a lot about how Danny Trejo, what a good human he is.
I agree. So
talk about transformation. That guy's lived both sides.
Right?
Big time.
Like heavy
Big
both
time.
sides.
Bravo to somebody who figured it out.
Kudos for all of that. There's going to be more live in front of a studio audience, that show on ABC.
Fantastic. We loved it. Kudos to
Loved
Jimmy Kimmel and team. We loved it. Did a great job. I love the originals. We have the original phone. There's only one phone from the Bunker household of All in the Family, like the original show from Carol O'Connor. We have it. Isn't that
That's
neat?
ours, yeah.
Yeah, that's neat. It's like a neat
Super
thing.
neat. There's going to be more. They don't know what the shows are yet.
Oh, they won't.
Exactly.
It won't be another episode of All in the Family and
No.
Jeffersons. We're reviving other shows. Okay, cool.
Correct.
All right.
Other old shows like that. One thing I did not know, it's Norman Lear and Jimmy Kimmel, of course. Great. This one's going to be a holiday episode, this next one, and then there's one next year. But what I did not realize is that Justin Theroux's involved as an EP.
Oh,
And I
nice.
love that guy. And
Yeah.
The Leftovers, they just add such a level of... It imbues such an energy to this project. I'm really excited.
I like him as well. I like his choices. And that Leftover show is one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Totally.
I mean, I don't love every choice they made along the way, but what the show says about and what the possibilities could be is really, really wild.
I think often of when he's in that closet scene, like picking out what to wear and how that dictates how people treat him and how he acts. And
we all get to make that decision every single day.
It's everything we think about.
What personality are you gonna put on? Are you gonna be, the one who's got your shit together, or are you gonna be the one, whoa, it's me, it was a bad day? It's up to you.
Yes, I think about that often. And lastly, there's a lot of people that think they can't do anything because they're older. I'm one of these people, so I'm not talking about other people. But it's hard sometimes to like muster the energy to do things for other people when you're like, I can't walk today. Like it is what it is.
That's one of those weird ones, though. I'm sure you'll say it too.
It is one of those weird ones. And what inspired me about this story is kind of like, who cares? Like, we're all here dealing with whatever. This terminally ill 91-year-old patient in Michigan knits 1 to 2 wool hats a day for homeless people. And they get handed out in Grand Rapids. And
thousands so far, though, right? Total?
Thousands to date. And just like... the article I read was like he does 1 to 2 a day. He specifically is like they need ear flaps because it gets cold. So he makes ear flaps on these hats and he stops for a coffee break and is like, whatever. But they get distributed in Grand Rapids. So
I love it.
Kudos.
I find when you don't have the energy to do something for somebody else, just get over that hump and do something for somebody else because the moment you do, you have so much energy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's invigorating. It's such a wonderful feeling when even if there's nothing on your agenda of helping people today, call an old friend or reach out to somebody or, smile at somebody at the grocery store or something strange.
You never know. I mean, this
it's
is
the weirdest way
91-year-old
how it pays itself
dude.
back, though.
Like, who would have thought? And I'm sure he was not like, I want to knit hats, but like, he might feel great, like, using his arthritic hands. You never know how you can help people. So, Maury, you're awesome.
Oh, and that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan. Out of practice with all these buttons. All right, we have gone way, way long. It's almost 20 minutes here, Mrs. Ryan. Please let us take a break, and we're going to bring Bucko in here. Jonathan Buckley will be our guest in just a few minutes, sitting in that chair right there. We're going to get to know him right here on this show. Good, Mrs. Ryan?
Great.
See you in a few. More to come.
Doing there, guys. Today we're going to be doing the brisket, and what we're going to talk about today, and they'll tell me what they're going to talk about before. Anyway, and it goes on and on and on, and you sit there 10 minutes in, they haven't even put salt on their meat yet. You know, it's like
Season this.
It's season that fucking thing. Put it on the barbecue. This is a 2-minute video at best.
And with that, we are sitting here with Jonathan Buckley, the barbecue extraordinaire. Holy cow, this is the guy. If you're going to have brisket and you have a show and you need a host, here's the guy.
Sorry, I was just having a rant about
it up,
brisket.
man.
Because I like it so much, I just brought us back in the middle of it.
I love it.
I didn't even ask. I want to start with how we met, because we only met a week ago. Not even a week ago.
Yeah, not even a week ago.
And your energy was just so exactly what I connect with personally, and what I like to surround myself with, what we like to surround ourselves with, that it was just kind of like, oh, this guy's cool. We'll at least see him up here again. And then when I found out what you did for a living, it was one of those like, oh, what do you want to be on our... You know what I mean? It happened very, very quickly and
when
organically.
Nicole reached out, I was just like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll come and hang out with you guys.
So
It's heaps of fun.
organic.
So,
well, I would like to tell the story of how the heck we met at Newcomb's the other day, because we were having a conversation with Magnus Walker, and you walked up and you had known him, or you met him at something else.
I'd met him in the Le Mans 24-hour in France, like in, I think, 2017, and which was a super random experience. And at the time, I was unaware even of Magnus, like, and I should have known. Like, I hope he's not going to look at this, because I didn't know who he was. And then he seemed like a super cool guy. Really, I was like, wow, this is the kind of guy I'd get along with. And, oh, he's into cars. Oh, he's into Porsches. Oh, he's the Porsche guy. The guy. And then, so yes, to run into him randomly up there was kind of cool. So
yeah.
And then obviously you guys were there hanging out, so it was like, oh.
But very strangely, you said, you mentioned, you dropped a name very quickly. You said, oh, Jesse Combs. And I said, what is Jesse Combs? I said, like the TV show host? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, we knew her from the Mythbusters days, before she was Jesse Combs, the car host.
Right, yeah.
She was just kind of breaking into stuff. So did you host a show with her, or you hosted
Not with
something?
her. We had a sister show together. So we basically worked under the umbrella company of Autoblog, and so they had a show called The List, and that was Jesse Combs and another friend of mine, Patrick, who had hosted 1,001 things to do, car things to do before you die, kind of idea.
Okay.
That was their premise. And our sister's show was more of a technology in transportation type show, where I hosted that solo, and we talked about anything that moved that had like a technological kind of spin on it. So Tesla's being a great, back when it was first coming out, was kind of exactly what we were, that kind of area that we were in. And so
that sounds very fun.
We all traveled together. We got to go to Le Mans 24-hour, and so that's how I met Magnus, and then that's obviously how I met you up at the Crest.
Yeah, so anyway, it was one of those I mean, a million people, when you're up there, a million people come over and say hello. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes, especially if you're talking to Magnus.
Yep.
But that sort of raised an eyebrow of like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should follow back with this guy. And then, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours later, something like that, Magnus was leaving. And he had, for everybody else who knows his cars, he had the GT3, the 996 GT3 with him. And the battery was dead. Happens all the time. Whatever. Battery was dead. So he had tried to jump it. He was parked up by the sign where he usually is.
I saw him rolling down the hill, and I thought, oh, that's odd. It's a very quiet Porsche.
But he'd only gotten it so far, and then he came back in. He said, oh, who's got a jumper box? Oh, who got the battery? And I said, I think we actually have one. We got one of those little deals and went out and we were plugging it in and everything. We just, for whatever reason, two guys couldn't figure it out. I think we were using it right, but it wasn't working for whatever reason. I went inside to say, hey guys, am I using this right? Does anybody know anything? I look out the window, and there's Magnus's car being pushed by some guy, this guy right here, alone. There's 20 people inside who could have done it. He's just out there doing it. And then cloud of smoke, and he get it done and the whole bit. I come out there. You're walking inside. You were like a superhero, like it ain't even a thing. Like, see you later. All right, have a good one.
It's not. It's honestly, it's just being an ape. Essentially, it's like I don't know what to do here, but maybe if I just bang on it or push it really hard, it'll go. And it works sometimes.
That's
you just
exactly what
slap
happened.
the side of a computer, and there you go. It was kind of that. I was like, well, standing here is not doing anything, so let's just give it a little shove, shall we? And it just worked, which is great because being stranded up at the Crest,
I don't know if you've ever been there. We've all had.
You've been stranded up there?
No, we've all had a moment where either we're with somebody else who's stranded, or we got a flat tire one time about 10 minutes down in that yellow car that you saw, and we ended up driving 25 miles on
was
the
far,
flat
yeah.
because it wouldn't.
Oh,
it didn't
that's-
come off the bead, but there was nothing else to do. We didn't ruin the rim or anything. Luckily, we
didn't?
lucked out.
Somehow, it
lucked
was
out.
amazing.
Lucked out, but the tire would hold 0 air. Jose was trying to stuff hay and grass and shit in the hole. It was a rock
It was
puncture.
torturous.
But anyway, nobody wants to have that. You're right.
No, nobody wants to have that. But is that something that's common? Because I know you drive with a lot of Porsches up there. Is that... I don't want to say anything disparaging against Porsches, but do they have issues?
Oh no, that's the car that'll make it every time.
It'll make it every time?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, those
That's
are the
good to
cars
know.
that'll make it every time. They're, of all of that type of car, they're
Yep.
the reliable ones that start and drive every time. They're famous for, like, even in the 50s, they're famous for you drive it to the track, you race it all day, and you drive it home.
Isn't that interesting?
Don't even trailer it.
Are you the traditional? Not to turn the interview around on you.
Let's
but,
do it.
Are you the traditional Porsche? Now, I also want to know a couple of
Throw an
other things.
on there.
Porsche or a Porsche?
I won't get
Because
upset with anybody, but I tend to say Porsche. But I mean,
Porsche.
like anybody, certainly it's
It always-
the audience you're with. Sometimes you just don't want to say
Some
Porsche.
people don't care, but sometimes I don't want to go through the whole word Porsche. But, okay, so Porsche, it's a particular breed of car person. I've noticed throughout my years working with cars, there's people who are car guys and they just like anything as long as it's got an engine and wheels, and they're like, oh, this is great, oh, that's a this, that's a that. And then there's Porsche people, and they don't really care about anything or really have terribly much knowledge about anything else, but they will know
nailed it.
every single detail of every single Porsche.
That's the
ever
wrong
built.
millimeter washer on that one thing.
Yes. Are
You're never going to
you-
get a Concord ribbon with that seatbelt tag. Or
See, this is all gibberish to me. Are you that type of
Good God,
enthusiast?
you saw our car. Our car is a driving car. You know what I mean? Our car is a. I grew up in Connecticut where there were a lot of shiny cars.
Yep.
But I was attracted to the ones that were driving up Route 7 to the Lime Rock every week. That were going to the racetrack. The ones
Yep.
that had numbers on the side. Guess why? Well, not guess why, but it turned out later in life that I wasn't the only one. The guys I was looking at when I was liking those cars, it was like that was Paul Newman driving his car
Oh,
up to the track,
yeah.
and that was other like Robert Redford driving his car up to the track. People who just lived in our area,
Yeah.
who it just turned out that I was drawn to the thing that these guys were. David Letterman. I'm into Porsche because David Letterman lived in my town and he drove Porsches around.
Interesting. Yeah.
None
So
of
when
those
my
guys.
dad died when I was 18, what did I do? I went and bought a used 944.
Smart purchase.
None of those guys
I-
were like the big flashy. This is the newest, whatever.
right.
So I can totally see why.
No, they
you'd
were
be-
driving old classic shit to
Yeah.
the racetrack to go
Yeah.
do laps, not to go stand in a parking lot and look at it and
Yeah.
tell people what they bought.
Amazing.
And I'm not knocking that because we have a great time with that too. It's just that wasn't what initially got me into it. So no, I'm not that guy.
Okay, no worries.
It's
Yeah,
a different kind of Porsche
It's a
personality.
different type of person. Yeah, because I know a lot of guys. They've got the Porsche watch, and the
Well,
driving shoes. and-
hang on. But I do check the boxes for everything else you said. I'm the guy who used to be a car guy until I got into Porsche, and then everything else went by the wayside. I started
Wow.
knowing, I followed less and less, and then I knew less and less, and one thing led to another. After a couple years, you do only know Porsche.
Yep.
You're right.
Interesting.
I don't know what the things are in the millimeter and the blah. I don't give a shit about any of that. But how the car rotates, how it drives, driving it up in the crest every single week. That's what I'm made to do. I mean,
Love it.
I can't tell you anything other than this. Nothing invigorates me more.
Okay. Well, I've driven one Porsche in my life.
What kind was it?
And I'm going to feel like a douchebag even saying this.
Boxster.
No.
Okay, good. Oh, good. The other way. Oh, good.
918 Spider.
Oh, wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Supercar.
The supercar. And
It's a hybrid, right?
I guess hyper, yeah, because
Yeah.
they went from super to hyper, and I don't know what comes after mega.
Oh, no, but
super,
it's like
mega,
a
hyper.
hybrid, right? It's the one that's got the
Oh,
electric engine and
both?
all
Yes, it's a hybrid. Yes, hybrid. But I believe the hybrids they're calling hypercars.
I think you're
now.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So incredible. I mean, absolutely. Just you get behind the wheel of that, and it was just the most incredible experience.
Our guest we mentioned before, who was here on Thursday, was the general manager of the Porsche Experience Center down in
Yeah.
Carson or wherever. She owns a 356, a classic old 356, beautiful classic car. And her other second favorite Porsche, that's her favorite Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
Her second favorite is the 918 supercar.
I just
Hypercar,
thought
whatever.
I mean, you can pop the top off of that. You've got exhaust pipes right behind your ears, and that thing just sounds. I mean, it was.
I've never even ridden in the Spider. How is that? I mean,
It's
to be
remarkable.
open top is
It's remarkable. Through my work with cars, I've been very fortunate to drive some just absolutely incredible things, and there are a couple of special days, and that's probably one of the most special that I've ever had. Awesome. I mean, when you really realise what you're driving and how rare they are, and that most, I believe, like something like 80% of them are just going to sit in garages somewhere and never be driven. And we got given what was the prototype car.
Well, they sit and appreciate. Is that what you mean? People are just collecting
them?
Yeah,
they collect them and they appreciate them and they sell them, but it's not going to get driven. Whereas we got the ability to not only drive this, but we were at El Toro Marine Base down.
Oh, you're really doing it.
We're on a runway track, and I'm getting to do launch after launch, and just
this is out in the Mojave, that El Toro, or is it the one in Tustin?
Towards San Diego. So it's just sort
of, okay, gotcha.
It's the old El Toro Marine Base, I believe it's called, and it's
gotcha.
Dusty old track. We had half the runway
Camp Pendleton
to ourselves,
down there, all that
down
stuff.
that towards there.
Got
yeah,
it.
Exactly. And so, I mean, it was absolutely remarkable. My favourite part of the day was when the guy, because it was a set, and we had all of our crew and everyone was there, the PAs and everything. We had this guy who came down and he bought the porta potties, because we were on a runway, porta potties for everyone to use in the crew. And he's such a nice guy. He's a bit older, he's a bigger guy. He's got his name on his shirt, and he comes up and he's like, "I'm so sorry." He goes, "I don't want to overstep my boundaries here." He goes, "But I've never even seen a car like this. Would it be okay? Could someone just take me for a drive in it?"
Whoa.
And I was like, well, I'm totally fine with that, so long as the Porsche representatives are cool. And they were like,
you'll take him for a spin.
Like, I'll take him for a spin.
Yeah.
I was the one that was driving that
Bravo.
day. And the Porsche guys were like, yeah, absolutely. And I said, all right, we'll jump on in. And his face just lit up. I said, listen, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do a launch. So a launch, you put your foot on the brake, romp it on the accelerator, give it full revs, and we're going to take off. And he turns to me and he goes, I don't give a crap, just punch it. And I took off, and this guy, he's probably mid to late 50s, was squealing like a teenage girl, having the time of his life. And it reminded me, again, because I've been really fortunate to drive these cars, just how awesome it was. And that was my favourite part of the day, driving this car and seeing his reaction. Wow. And so as soon as we got back, the PA leans out, my turn. Can I go? Yeah. And so I spent the last half an hour to an hour of the day taking everybody just whoa, whoa, and I mean, it was just awesome, because when do you get an experience to beat on a car like that? It was the prototype.
How about you
car.
being able to give those other people that experience? I mean, that's really a neat thing.
It was a really cool thing.
That's
And that was my
day.
takeaway from that whole day in that car was I really wish people would get more opportunity to experience the absolute top level of these cars, because they
see what
are
they're capable
remarkable.
of.
Just absolutely remarkable in
Did
an
you go
environment where it doesn't matter.
straight, or did you?
So we had the whole thing set up so
Right.
we could go straight. We'd basically do a launch. We'd get up to, I think it was only could get up to about 170 before we had to like back off a little bit.
That's fast.
And then we could start doing some squiggles on the way back. And so we're like getting a little bit of drift in there and everything. I mean, it was just, it was awesome.
I mean, that's the place to do it. You're safe. I mean, there's runoff everywhere. All you're going to do is blow your tires.
I know. And you know what? The sad part about that whole story is that car was destined to be crushed.
Oh, really?
Because it's a 000 car, like the prototype car. Apparently, it's some law with these cars. When they're a prototype car, they can't ever be. They're not given a VIN, so
they
you
can't even stay in the museum or anything because it's not registerable.
There was talk that
It's
they
not
might be able
technically
to save that one because it was each car has a name. It was called Meredith, I think was the name of that car.
I'd be ashamed to crush Meredith.
I was like, oh, please
crush
don't
Meredith
crush
and all her dreams.
yeah. So anyway, that was my Porsche experience, my one and only, and it was incredible.
Well, what a great way to segue into what do you do for a living, that was an opportunity you had.
Oh, well, I've been hosting for years, much like yourselves. I've been hosting radio and television.
Yeah, but how did you get into all that? I can tell from your voice you might not be from here.
Oh, yeah. All right. Long story short, did performing arts at university, and then I got a call right out of university from a radio station who said, would you like to be our stunt guy for
radio
the morning
stunts?
show? I know, radio stunts. So I would have to go out and get my privates waxed, for instance, on the air, and so they could listen to me squeal. Like, it was,
Those
things,
stunts.
that sort of stuff.
See. Howard Stern type stunts.
That sort of stuff. So I would sort of start it off like that, but then that kind of transitioned into being on air and in the studio and out of the.
Well, your personality
danger
is
zone.
great, so I'm sure that organically it just sort of probably transitioned.
Yeah, it was fun. But then something happened, and I won a green card on the internet.
That's how you want one.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Neither did I. I was a pop-up on my computer. I thought it was a scam. I was like, it's there going, ding, ding, live and work in America.
We got ordained that way. I know that.
Is that right?
Sure, yeah.
Really? It was, it was a thing. It was a thing. It just popped up, and I thought, well, it was $40. I thought, you know what? This is $40 I'm never going to see again. I'll throw it in there. It's most likely a scam. And then 6 months later, they're like, oh, congratulations. You qualify. Now you can apply. And you basically win the opportunity to apply for a green card. And so that was where everything kind of
It's a lottery? But it was a pop-up ad?
It's a pop-up ad. So the website itself was actually a scam.
I was going to say, I don't mean to be rude. I bet somebody has your data.
Totally. No, they've got it. They've got everything. No, it was a scam website because it's a free service. So they did get $40 out of me.
I fucking did one of those ones for the DMV.
Yep. And
Paid $20 to make an appointment for the DMV. Yeah, okay, I got
same
you.
thing.
Yep, got
but it's still they did the
It
right
worked.
thing and passed it along.
Right.
So it worked. So that's how I ended up over here.
Wow.
It was a very
And how long ago was that?
2006. So about 12, 13. This will be my 13th year. I
Good
think,
for
in the
you.
United States.
All right, so how's it? All right, then you got here, and then you went straight into hosting. That was an easy transition.
No. I was very
landed the
naive.
plane, and then, they were giving out. They had the signs.
No. I came here very naive and probably a little bit cocky. I was like, things sort of came easy to me in Australia. I'll just waltz into America and be like, oh, hi. And it did
I'll
not.
take a show.
It did not. I was like, what do you mean no? I'd never really been told. It's like, what do you mean no, you can't? They're looking at my resume saying none of this matters to us. I was like, oh. So I basically had to start from scratch again. So
Right.
started off in radio, and then my first hosting gig, I landed in the automotive industry, which was hosting product videos for dynamometers or whatever they
No
are.
kidding.
The dynos.
Sure.
And,
To show how they work and
show
why
how they
it would
work,
help
and it
your
was-
shop, why you should buy one.
I had no work, and this was like, all right, I can talk, and I like cars. Perfect. And so that was how I sort of started, and I would go around the auto show circuit, interview people on the auto shows like SEMA and PRI, and then
And you're just a host. Someone else owns the content, right? They're just saying, "Hey, go talk to
go
people about
talk
this
to
product."
this, and we would just go and interview people. But I have an innate interest in it, so if I'm going to talk about anything, it might as well be that.
Sure.
And so then that grew into. I hosted a couple other shows. I had a show on Lifetime. I hosted a dating show on Lifetime.
Stop.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was a love
I'm sure all the
guru.
girls would want to date you, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was an issue with that on the
Bachelor
first
number
episode.
3. Are you half as good as looking as the host? I mean,
No, that was the first one. That was like a real life take on the Love Boat. So I was.
What?
I love the
It's a-
original
a
Love Boat. Love, exciting and new.
So yeah, I had to put my little sailor's outfit on and give love advice, which was fascinating.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I need to find those people.
Yeah.
We don't need to
Find
find those
Gopher.
clips. That lasted about 4 episodes. And that was canned. I did a show on NBC, and that was kind of like a faux Survivor type show called Siberia, and
Okay.
then I landed
But not a spoof. I mean, it was just a different type of. You're
It was
surviving
actually a
in Siberia.
scripted show. It was designed to look like Survivor, where the contestants end up getting eaten by aliens. And it was kind of cool.
Whoa,
It
almost
lasted
a War of
full
the Worlds
series.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're hiding it in another package.
Yeah, it basically took place in Siberia, and there's all this.
And that didn't go. It's kind of
It
intriguing.
was,
to
it
me.
was
Went
very
for
well
one
done.
season,
One
you
full
said, yeah?
season,
Oh,
and we
okay.
got to the end and on a cliffhanger, and NBC said indefinite hiatus. We'll
Yeah.
just
No interest in finding out what happens.
so that sort of went away. And then I got back into the more car stuff and ended up hosting a show called Translogic, which was the one we mentioned earlier about technology, and that afforded me the opportunity to drive all of these incredible cars and
God, that's so
robots and
cool.
hoverboards. It was really awesome. I mean, really awesome stuff. So
Sounds it.
yeah, it's the kind of thing where if you had told me when I was growing up in Tasmania that I'd be living in Los Angeles and
This will be one of your jobs.
I'd be like, nah, that's not it's not on the cards for me. So it's
Did
been
you
great.
ever? Did you grow up thinking, "Oh, I'm going to move to the United States someday from
No,
Tasmania"?
not-
Or
I-
how?
Well,
just after
kind
university
of,
and the
because I
opportunity?
was doing university and I was doing acting at university, I figured at some point if I was gonna try and give it a real run, then I'd have to go to America. So
Okay.
I guess there was a thought process.
Just that's where it is. That's where this business is.
That's where the work is. The majority of the work. Australia is great, and we produce some great content. But I just felt like there was more of an opportunity when I got given the opportunity. When I won a green card on the internet, I figured, well, this is, sometimes you just got to follow that.
Go with it.
And
You don't happen to have, this is a shot in the dark. You don't happen to know a director of photography named Ben Hansen, do you?
Ben Hansen.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
He also Mythbusters as well
Yeah.
for all years and years, but he's also Australia. And just, he's got the same fucking energy you do of
Yeah.
just somebody you look in their eyes and you're like, that's a good guy. I don't know why, but if I'm ever in trouble, I want him on my
that's
side.
very
I
kind.
trust that guy. I want to be with that guy. If
Yeah, right.
anything
When I
goes
got a
away.
dead battery in the mountains,
Yeah.
here's the guy who's going to get me down.
Not talk about it inside. Like, go out and do stuff.
Just trying to get
You're
that thing working.
awesome.
Anyway, so yeah, I was just curious if that
yeah.
had ever come up. So what are you doing now?
Oh.
Other than driving your motorcycle up to Newcomb's Ranch,
Well,
is that
that
a
was-
regular thing for you?
That was actually just I just bought that motorcycle. I'd actually kind of I'd been trying to tiptoe away from motorcycles, and then we've been
What reason? Safety? Adulthood? What?
adulthood. I was just trying to be more adult, and it's Los Angeles. It's dangerous, and the motorcycle I ride are kind of bonkers. They're always the fastest, and
Mister, you're moving. I'm not going to say, but you're moving soon.
Yes.
To a place that's very close to this.
Yes.
And we're at the base of the crest in 15 minutes without any kind of traffic drama.
Mm-hmm.
I used to ride as well, and I sold my bike because I saw too many sheets on the freeway. You know what I mean? You just see too
That's the thing.
many fallen riders, and people out here. Some of them, people are either really, really like super hyper aware and looking for motorcyclists,
Mm-hmm.
or people are nowhere near this reality in their phones and everything else. So I understand, but I feel like if you live over here, it might be a safer venture.
It's funny because when I bought this motorcycle, the response was visceral from people like, "You're going to die." It was like
Because you got
people
the
were
new
just like,
R1, right?
Don't know, yeah, because they're just like, no, it's just. I'm like, well,
200
a
horsepower
lot
and
of
a
people
little
live
tiny frame.
happy long lives riding motorcycles. I mean, I know it's a dangerous activity and there's dangerous things you can do, but people's response was, my girlfriend was the only one that was kind of reasonable about it. She's like, oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. She was like, yeah, well, you love it. You should probably buy that.
My bike was the FZ1,
a good
which was the
lady.
R1
Which is the
motor
R1 motor.
detuned a little bit, but on the naked bike. And that was back then like 150 horsepower, and it was a fast-ass bike.
It's
200 horsepower
they're
in a
fast.
smaller frame, and with that position and everything
That
else,
sounds
it's
so fast.
It's so fast.
full-blown a race machine.
But they also have so much more technology nowadays that they've put into these motorcycles that they didn't have before. So you can
Management stuff?
Yeah. So you've got slide control, which is it can measure. It's got a gyroscope that measures your lean angle versus your
So
wheel
it
speed.
won't let you go
and it'll let
over
you
a certain...
it'll let you slide a little bit, but not too far. It's got traction control. It's got ABS. It's got lift control, so you don't wheelie too much. And then you've got riding mode, so
Wow.
you can actually dial back the power so it feels like a 600cc motorcycle. You
No
can halve the
kidding.
power just by putting it in D mode. So there's all these sorts of systems.
That's
in
pretty
it.
fascinating. I guess you would have to, right, to make it manageable.
Well, in some
Same thing with the
cases, if it's
hypercars.
raining, if I don't like to take my girlfriend on the back because I'm a hypocrite and I know how dangerous motorcycles are. So I don't take
Your
her
life is
because I
different.
care about her.
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't, whatever. But
know.
hers, I'm like, okay. But if I take her, I stick it in D mode, we go half power and it smooths everything out. So
God, it's so wild. You just push a button these days.
yeah, totally. So
What do you feel? You said you were a car guy from a long time, right?
yeah, I've been I'm a things that go guy. So I really have no prejudice against anything.
I love that.
It's sometimes I think that like Harley snobs, I like to call them. Like people are like sometimes ride Harleys. You encounter people that are just like they'll hate that Japanese. I hate Japanese. I hate scooters or I just ride Harleys and that's all I ride. And I'm like, I get it.
It's a
you're
loyal
into it.
mark.
Yeah,
It's a loyal mark.
and that's cool because I love Harleys too, but it's weird. Some people have a narrow focus. I have a very broad. I love if it's If it's got something in it that goes, it doesn't even have to be petrol powered. If it's got an electric motor, it doesn't matter. If it goes, I'll like it.
So what kind of stuff have you been into throughout your life? Like, what kind of cars have you liked? What kind of cars have you owned or driven or just...
I would say growing up in Australia, there's some Australian cars that you probably wouldn't have heard of, but I've always wanted a Kingswood, a Holden Kingswood. It's kind of the equivalent would be like a 68 Camaro. It's kind of like that. It's muscly. I would love to have one of those.
A straight line car kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Just make it super pretty, like a deep midnight blue and some chrome. It'd be nice.
I obviously think I go straight to the Mad Max car, and I can't even remember what the hell that thing was, but the whatever that was, it became the. How would this car that you're speaking of fit into that? That was probably more of an 80s type amalgamation.
It's kind of around that area, yeah. I mean,
really?
I'm looking around like 70s kind of era car. It's big, it's steel, it's heavy.
Yeah,
it's not going to go around corners.
Perfect. So that kind of thing. We're on the same page.
Same page.
Would you want it here? Or
absolutely. Can you imagine? People wouldn't even know what it was.
I don't know.
Is it right-hand drive?
It's Australian. Yeah, it's the Australian.
Awesome.
So that would be pretty rad. If I often get asked with my work what my favorite car I've ever driven would be. The Lamborghini Huracan brought tears to my eyes.
Really?
No joke. It was granted. It was at a racetrack. We spent a day, and it was
what and why? Because that's one of those cars that those cars in general have never done anything for me.
They've never done it. So
no, and I don't get into the whole hyper. None of that is. It's almost like I'm an old soul, and I'm stuck in another time, and like I can't do the advanced stuff.
Is the Porsche that you have? Is it a manual? Is it a stick shift?
Oh yeah.
So I still love all of that sort of stuff.
I'll only do that. I've never. Yeah. We had one car that was not, and I'll never do it again.
And that was an automatic?
It was an M4, but it had the dual clutch paddles. Yeah.
The paddles. So yeah, I've driven the M4, and they're great, but there's always a bit of a delay when you shift on some of those.
Even in the
cars,
Sport Plus, I agree with you.
There's just a hair of a delay, which makes you feel like you're not super connected. When you get into something like a Lamborghini with its dual clutch and everything else, they've developed it in such a way that it's very visceral. So you're in it, and when you hit the gears,
no, that's all right.
Hit the gears, it really like smacks you. Like, wah, pah, pah.
Yeah, so you feel it.
I feel it, and you feel like you're connected. And the car you're so low, and it's so tight, and the noises that it makes, they tune it to be loud and exciting. And it sounds very trite, but like the Italians are all like, "Oh, it's to create emotion." It does create emotion. It made me. I was like, "This is the greatest day of my life."
Wow.
I mean, there's something that I know I'm going to look like I've got a little if I drive it around, but I don't care. I like it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with liking it.
And it's a V10 and it sounds beautiful and it just gets me.
What's the new SUV that everyone had as a press car a month ago?
The
other one. Have you driven that thing yet? Why? I'm drawing a blank on it.
It's
the hottest thing right now.
Urus. The Lamborghini
Urus, yeah.
Yes. So
Urus,
it's the
SUV.
Urus. The Lamborghini Urus. I liked it.
Lamborghini Urus.
No,
Pop the
hood. No, I like.
Gotta look at your Urus.
Yeah, that was to me. I get it. Everybody wants to drive an SUV. We like to sit up high. Lamborghini wants a piece of that pie, and that's totally fine. I respect that, but I think that it's just. Honestly, Lamborghini build a car with a purpose.
There we are. Now you are okay. Do you mind if I cut you off?
Not at all. No.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that statement. We live in a time now where anything can be anything. Mm-hmm. Everything is 3D printable. Everything is customizable. You can do it in the computer, and then it'll be sitting in the room tomorrow when you come into work.
Yep.
With that, if anything can be anything, then I feel like it's the socially responsible thing to do is figure out what you want to be.
Yep.
And then do that authentically and well. And then that seems to be how we're going to get the audience in the future, like whether it's a car audience or a television audience, whatever it happens to be.
Absolutely.
I find that in this world of where anything is everything and everything is anything, and you can't. Every TV show I watch, the host, whether it's the news or a show like yours or mine or whatever, there's a big screen behind them that they can be anywhere. And look, I'm in Central Park. Look, I'm in Poland.
Green screen.
I'm on Greenland.
Yep.
As the viewer, I want to know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to be a trustable source for me, like
Yeah.
if you're the news hypothetically,
Yeah, at least
I
tell
want
me
to
the
know where you're
truth of
sitting.
Where you're sitting.
Yeah.
Start with that.
Yeah,
Start
I'm not saying
with
I
the
need a real
basics.
window, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like make something out of wood that is the same every time, so
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
Make that screen surrounded by some. Let's hybrid it out. Let's make.
Yep.
I find that cars are in the same place, and this Lamborghini SUV, I'm not knocking it. I know a bunch of people who had it as a press car. They said that's the best car they've ever driven because it's one of those like, oh, it can do anything.
It can do anything, yeah.
The Tesla's the electric version of it, that Model X.
Yep.
Same thing. It can do anything.
great
It can beat
vehicle.
any car. It is.
Yep.
We're in that place. Everything's ones and zeros. So it's kind of like, well, what do you want to be? Since a Kia can be the same as a Lamborghini, and I don't
Yep.
mean that exactly, but fundamentally I do.
Yep.
What do we do? Where do we go? Where do you stand? That's my soapbox.
I do like things with a singular purpose in mind. That's where what I find. That's why I ride the motorcycle that I ride. I bought the R1 because it is good at one
That's
thing.
what it's for.
It's built at that. When it's time for me to get a cruiser, when I get older, I'll get something that's a bit better at. There's an amazing Ducati that they've brought out, which is a cruiser, and it's one of the best cruisers I've ever. So I'll buy that cruiser, but I don't want to have like a sports bike / cruiser / dirt bike. I want to have something that's got a singular purpose. And sometimes I find that, it's an SUV, a sports utility vehicle. It probably is the best for a sports utility vehicle that you can get, but it's not a sports car and it's not an off-road vehicle.
Right.
And it is, it does all of them things good.
That's what I mean. It's
Jack of
everything
all
for
trades,
everybody.
master of none. But that saying actually is supposed to continue on. Have you ever heard this saying?
What's the rest of
So
it?
the old saying is Jack of all trades, master of none. But it was actually master of none, but oftentimes better than the master of one. Did you know that?
Wow.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so that's how the old
That
saying
changes the
it changes the
whole thing.
whole thing. Because I used to think that was a negative saying. But
Yeah, me too.
Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So,
Ooh.
don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Now that I say that.
No,
but
I
it's
like
a
it.
bit of a jack of all trades, and I would like a Lamborghini to be... If I'm buying a Lamborghini, I'm buying it for that singular purpose of no compromise, not comfortable, go fast, have a great
It's a
time.
Lambo.
Yeah,
Like,
you shouldn't be
know what
crying
you
from
sign
that
up
passion
for.
when you go pick up milk.
Yeah.
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 Hey, it's a passion.
Yeah. But that said, the Urus was probably going to sell bucket loads because not everybody wants that. Maybe people like to just have like a sporty utility vehicle that they can pick up the kids from soccer in.
Yeah, and because they saw it on Instagram.
And they saw it on Instagram, and because Sally got a Land Rover, and
That's
I'm
right.
not going to be outdone.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Was that a thing in Australia as big as it is here? Keeping up with the Joneses.
I
That
think
term of
that's
that whole.
I think that's life in general, isn't
Is
it?
it?
I mean, I think there's elements of that anywhere you go. I mean, you sort of.
Well, then
we're
you
all
grow out
guilty
of it
it
at
to
some
an
point,
extent.
right?
You probably do. There's a point where you stop caring as much, but when the neighbour puts second level on the house, there's that little pang of like, okay, I see. All right, we don't have the biggest house on the block anymore. We just, it's a hierarchy thing this game that we all play, and hopefully I don't buy into it too much. But
No, it's so funny. I'm one of those people that as I get older, I'm like, good for him. Good for him. He's got a second floor in his
true,
house.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the old days, I would have for sure done exactly like you. How do we do a roof deck or something
Yeah.
up there? You know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to build a turret.
Exactly. Widow's walk. That's great. Well, what are your plans? Like, what are you're moving, and it seems like we caught you at a place where you're in between shows, but you're moving. What does your wife do? Can we talk about her?
My girlfriend, she's
girlfriend, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
forgive
well, we haven't. Yes, thanks.
Sorry for that. Yep.
She's into the fitness. She's a health and mind and body coach. So
Into the
she
fitness.
she has a workout book that she's released, and she's.
I think that's wonderful. I'm thinking of a health, mind, and body coach who I'm thinking if I were a health, mind, and body coach, I wouldn't want to be associated solely with fitness. But is she that type? It's through fitness?
It's mostly through fitness. The thing is, she's actually, as she's evolving in her career, and I'm really proud of her, she's started off, the focus was fitness. Now it's definitely going, because fitness now encapsulates so many different things. So to be a healthy
'Cause the lifestyles
person,
are changing.
Lifestyles are changing. So having a complete wellness program. So that's as far as your diet is concerned. And are there stresses in your life that are potentially, if it's weight that is your issue, then maybe there's some stresses in your work life or in your relationships that are causing that as well. So
There's always something behind the scenes. I'm glad just looking into it.
So it's approaching, weight loss or fitness or just healthy living from multiple angles to give you a complete sort of wellness. And
It's not just go to the gym.
Not just go to the
we
gym.
bought
That's
into
part
that
of
shit
it.
for
We
years.
know that.
Part of
Yeah.
it. But like if you only focus on that stuff, you're missing so much other stuff that's influencing whatever your issue is.
Absolutely. So it's like coming at it from a completely holistic sort of standpoint
Cool.
of looking at those sorts of things. And so I listened to her, and I'm very, very proud. She's doing some really cool.
What's
stuff.
her name?
So Dempsey Marks.
Does she have an Instagram, or is there something else?
Dempsey
Let's
Marks.
plug her stuff,
Just at
because that
Dempsey
sounds
Marks.
wonderful.
Yeah, she's all about the healthy living and positive attitude. And
Can't wait to meet you, Dempsey.
I was
she's
just
a
about to say, I
sweetheart.
can't wait to be neighbors.
She's a sweetheart. Yes, we just went into escrow on a house. It was a long,
Congratulations.
arduous, difficult process.
Los Angeles is not the town to buy a house. It's so difficult.
Difficult, and we'd actually stopped looking. That's why I bought the motorcycle. I'd given up.
Seriously?
I'd given up.
Oh,
Yep.
it
I
was
was like,
plan B.
that's it. We're going to continue renting. We're renting, and it's been great. We've got good rent, and I was like, you know what? We're giving up on the house hunt and buying a motorcycle. But it was the motorcycle that led me to the house. It
Oh.
was a random, weird, strange turn of events. And
Well, it sounds like Ann Anstead. All right, let's hear
Yeah.
it.
what's that?
The story.
Do you know who Anstead is?
No.
He's another host as well. Who's
Okay.
been here as well, and he's a big believer in vision boards and things happening and following energies and things like that. And it seems like this is what happened to you.
He
You
moved
bought
into their
you made
house.
a choice. You bought. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You made a decision. You decided to go against what you were going to do, and the thing that you decided against brought you to the first decision.
Totally, yeah. I mean, well, basically, I'd gone to the Crest for a day on my first trip to the Crest on my motorcycle, and I got a text from a friend saying, "Can you come over to my housewarming in Sherman Oaks?" Normally, I'd go, "Sherman Oaks, you're dreaming." Oh, sorry, busy.
Yeah. That's a full day.
Yeah, I was like, I'm on the bike, I'm feeling good. I'm like, I'm nimble, I can get there.
You
through
can
traffic
get there.
in no time. You know what? I'll do him a solid.
Did
I'll
the
go over and check out
canyon
his
back
house.
home over?
Yeah,
You
I'll, just,
betcha.
I'll swing by. So, all right, burn over there on the motorcycle, and I get there, and him and his neighbours just sitting there singing the praises of the neighbourhood. Oh, how wonderful is this town, Sherman Oaks? And so it got me thinking, and I was like, oh, interesting. We'd never really looked in Sherman Oaks. And so I got home and I said to my girlfriend, maybe we expand out a little bit and we look in Sherman Oaks. She's like, all right, cool, yeah, if you think so. The following day, we went for a little drive around Sherman Oaks. There was an open house we just thought we'd poke our head into, and we went, that's the one. And we're in.
That's incredible. That's
That was-
almost exactly the same story. All right, just real quick.
Yeah,
you don't
no,
know
please,
who this
I
guy
wanna
is,
know.
but he. Have you ever seen the show Wheeler Dealers?
I've heard of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's co-hosted that. Mike Brewer and Anstead. Used to be Ed China, now it's Ian Anstead.
Mm-hmm.
He has a vision board with his wife. His wife is a host as well of Flipper Flop on HGTV.
Yeah.
Christina Anstead, I guess. They have a vision board, and they wanted a beach house, whatever. He wanted a Porsche 356 too, whatever. All that stuff's up on the vision board. Somehow they were driving around Orange County one day, and whatever, they pulled over. He told the story on the show here, and the quick version is whatever. They pulled over for whatever reason, and they looked up at the house they had parked in front of, and it was the house from the vision board.
That's
For sale. For
I
sale.
don't want to be all
For sale.
woo-woo, but I
For
think
sale.
that's...
Yo, man, we're all in it.
They ended up getting their house
They
from
got it.
the actual house from the vision board that was simply in a magazine.
Hang on, so you're not saying it resembled the
Correct.
house. It was the actual
Correct.
picture.
Correct. The actual house from the they had to go through he looked at it, they were like, no way. Looking through the phone to find the picture of the vision board, zoom in. That's the actual house. And they didn't pull over to go to the open house or whatever was going on. It just happened to be for sale because they stopped in front of it. Same kind of thing.
But
it's the exact same story.
Spooky, that's like next level. But I do think I don't want to be all like heebie-jeebie.
Jump
but
in.
Be a little bit.
I think there's
Yes.
stuff going on that we don't
Energetically.
we don't necessarily understand, and things like vision boards and making lists and having plans, I think can
Focus.
can really help you. I think whether or not it's easily explained, like a subconscious, by writing it down, you subconsciously make decisions that lead you towards it, or what, I don't know.
I love that you're saying this because I'm going to transition to what we started this conversation with and then wrap it up pretty soon if that's all right with you. the Porsche guy, the Porsche stuff, the people who are just Porsche.
Yep.
And me admitting that I sort of ended up being that way. It's specifically what I noticed, 911 drivers. More specifically than just Porsche drivers.
Yep.
Totally.
Porsche people, okay, they're in love with the mark and the crest and whatever it means to them and everything. 911 drivers, it's something about how the cars get around. They're physically different than other cars. The weight's in a different place. It's in the wrong place. They started this thing wrong, and they've stuck with it for so long, and evolving it. For me, I used to love driving, and I used to love car physics, and I used to love all the things until I got into a 911. We had the M4 at the time. At the M4, we had just bought a 66 912. We had your SUV, had tons of stuff at the same time. And we got in this 911, and it was the only car I had any interest in driving.
Interesting.
We
Stop driving
we got rid of everything
else.
else.
That was it.
It's currently our only car.
I love that.
Why, though, is the whole physics of it does things differently. You have to, in order to control the weight in the back, you have to have forethought. You have to be way further ahead than even you were with just regular driving, looking 2 turns ahead or whatever. You're always planning on what to do with that.
Well, that's what I've always thought about those. I'm like, it's so
right. So it's wrong. So it's wrong. So it's like,
well,
until you figure out how to use it to your advantage.
Wow.
And then it's...
Now you can get around turns faster than anybody, including you on your R1.
I was coming back from the crest the other day, and I actually, for the first time...
No.
There was a couple of guys in Porsches. Granted, I was having fun sort of playing with them, but they were doing some spirited driving. For the first time ever, I pulled to the side and let them through.
Wow.
And just watched what they were doing, and they were flying. I mean, not breaking the speed limit necessarily, but around those tight twisties.
Yes.
I was having a challenge keeping up. They were doing some really good stuff.
It's a different skill set.
It's different.
So it's one of those things. It helped me with my long game, and I mean that in life.
Yep.
Like it helped me with my setting a goal much further out than where I thought I needed to set my goals. It helped me essentially eyes up for everything, and it became sort of almost a euphemism for how we live our life. It's like Porsche life. That's where that name came from.
Eyes up.
It's wild.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I love that.
You're amazing, and I wanna stay friends with you. I hope that we see you at Newcomb's.
Yes.
I dig your energy. I really dig. I think professionally we can certainly do things together.
Yep.
I also know that I don't meet people the way we met people for no reason. I mean, the way I met you for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. Not to be all woo-woo again, but you do people, things happen, and you cross paths.
It's
all
all
energy,
energy, man.
So.
That all happened the way it happened for a reason. It was a great story, and when I think back of it, I'm so it was so many great visuals in that story of being in with you guys. I'm like, they got problem solved. Never mind. You're awesome.
You guys are great. Thank you so much for bringing me in. This has been so much fun. Yep.
How do people get a hold of you? How do people stay in contact with you? How do people follow your career?
At Jonathan Buckley. That's the Instagram. I'm not very active on it. I'm not very good at the social media. I try. I do about 3 posts a year.
3 posts a year?
Maybe 4 if it's a good year.
So not that much on the social media.
No, my girlfriend's fantastic. Yep.
Dempsey?
Dempsey, she's posting regularly. You'll see more about me on hers than you will on mine. So.
Well, what's hers then, Dempsey?
It's at Dempsey Marks.
There we go. Fantastic. Love it.
Love that.
So there's that. Mrs. Ryan.
Yes, sir.
We've done our thank yous. What do we have? Social media, Instagram story. We've done all that. Jonathan Buckley, Bucko.
Yeah.
How did that start, Bucko?
Last name's Buckley. Live in
That
Australia.
it just
you
happened.
have to have. All my buddies are Tank, Foxy, Rage, Ass. They're all like. It's the only way to remember names, really. If you've got a really normal name, it's difficult.
You're probably too young, but were you? How old were you when that Crocodile Dundee movie came out?
Oh, I was young, but
Really
I was alive. I was around.
But I mean, was that a
film.
fair representation of any area or any?
Crocodile
Porsche,
Dundee?
any Porsche. Well, it's such a caricature in our minds.
It's a caricature, yeah, definitely. I don't know. I don't want to do it.
But there probably are people like that. He's based on somebody, right?
Absolutely. No, there is Australians are very much larrikin culture. I mean, we always sort of have been that real larrikin. And I mean, you can look at Paul Hogan, sorry, and you watch his Oscar speeches from back then, and he was being a larrikin all the way through. So that was a lot of his own personality.
I loved him, though.
He's an incredible...
I should say I love him. And I think he got married to the girl in real life, too.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I hate to... we're the show's over, but I'm just talking. His ability to connect with animals and all of that stuff to me is something that I've always had.
Yeah.
And it's very odd and weird, so I've always been like, oh, okay, whatever.
I remember that.
I love that movie for all of that stuff. All the fish out of water, city mouse, country mouse stuff in New York. Okay, good. I get it. It's kitschy and everything. But all the actual stuff, seeing the topography of Australia and everything, and going to all of that beautiful scenery.
Place. I tell you, going back to it now, having left, I go back with fresh eyes, and every time I go back, particularly where I'm from, Tasmania,
Where is that geographically on
So we're the island on the very bottom southeast corner. So the little
We're
island.
still kind of cut off from like main Australia.
We're off. Yeah, we're a 45-minute flight from what we call the mainland.
Oh, it is off. It is.
Yeah, it's
off.
off.
I didn't realize
it's
that.
really far south. But I mean, I go there now and I walk. I drive around with my jaw. It's got some of the best driving roads in the world.
Tasmania
hands down.
does.
You can look at Targa Tasmania, which is a
Well,
race
they did a
they have
Top
every
Gear
year.
there, didn't they?
Yeah. Those roads are absolutely some of the best. If you ever find yourself in that region for some reason and you like driving, get a car, get a motorcycle, hit the road. You will have an incredible time.
We should watch that Top Gear. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a Tasmanian special.
That'd be
for
great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I love those
All right.
specials.
Gosh, it's so cool. Tomorrow, Mrs. Ryan, we're not here. That's it. It was one show this week. Oh my gosh, we're so short timers. It's amazing. Breakfast Club tomorrow. It's a week later. Friday again.
Yeah.
See you up at Newcomb's Ranch.
Oh, you're heading up tomorrow? Sweet.
Every day.
Every Friday.
Every week.
Every Friday. So that's where we'll be. And then Saturday, we've got Lazy Auto Kennel Gathering down at Auto Kennel.
Hi,
It's
boy.
9 to 11 on Saturday. And then Sunday, we'll be over at Malibu and Muffins. So come on out. Good stuff. I know it's been a few weeks for you. I'm going to go see Susie
Hi,
in Malibu
Susie.
Kitchen. All right, Mrs. Ryan, I love you so very much.
Love you,
Bucko, we love you so
Thank
very
you.
much, brother.
It's
Thank
been
you for
so much
being
fun.
here.
Yeah.
We love everybody at home. Please love one another, and we will see you next week. Fun, right?
So fun.
20 feet from the bedroom.
You've done such an incredible job. It's the best studio. It's so good.
This is, this was my background. I knew how to do this stuff.